Oseo!
Oseo!
Cherokee greeting. A proven past bears new life. Women elected into government. Indigenous, Native women elected into the government. Every week, more and more and more. We're trying to keep up. From Indian country today. First Nation leaders take to Capitol Hill to talk with members of Congress about the issues facing Indian country. Entering a packed room in the Dirksen Senate building, Representative Deb Haaland, she's native of New Mexico, stepped up to the podium to address First Nation leaders. Before she said anything, she was wrapped in a red shawl made by Wanamahel Dixon of the Paluma Band of Indians. She was one of 6 women from Congress to be gifted with this red shawl. And on the shawl is embroidered, sovereignty and Native women's safety. And so these were given over the course of the day that's called Tribal Unity Impact Days in Washington, D.C. The shawls are a commemoration of the anniversary of the passing of the Violence Against Women's Act and remembering the countless number of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Citing the statistics of violence that Native women face, such as the fact American Indian women have murder rates that are 10 times higher than anybody else in this country. Representative Haaland said she doesn't understand how come this violence is not reported in the media. Quote, "When I entered Congress this past January, I vowed to make sure that Native voices would finally be heard and I would bring forth the issues that had yet to receive the attention they need and deserve." So that's going on. Here's another one, Seattle, my mother's birthplace. Seattle leaders approved the resolution for the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The bill's summary legislation title, a resolution reclaiming the inherent responsibility of the city to protect its most vulnerable populations, meaning the Indigenous communities. So the city's been, pretty slack there. The summary and background of the legislation: the United Indian Health Institute, a division of the Seattle Indian Health Board, has been studying violence against women in our communities. Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls found that the lack of quality data on these cases is due to racial misclassification, inconsistent data collection, and reporting practices. In response to this, there's been legislative efforts that the city of Seattle has the highest rate of any city in the United States of violence against Native women. And here's another one. Sarah Deer, inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. The National Women's Hall of Fame is the oldest organization dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the achievements of great American women. Sarah Deer holds a highly distinguished place among nearly 300 women who have been inducted into this Hall of Fame since it was established. She's of the Muskogee Creek. Creek are people adjacent to the Cherokees, and the language is Muskogee in order to distinguish them. That's what it means. A modern-day woman warrior that has dedicated her life to ending violence against Native women. This year in Seneca Falls, New York, the birthplace of American women's rights movement, she is being honored shoulder to shoulder with a heady list of heavyweights. Also being celebrated with her is Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, civil rights activist, Angela Davis, an Academy Award winner and activist, Jane Fonda, molecular biologist and pioneering medical researcher, Dr. Flossie Wong Stahl, composer, Laurie Spiegel, Nicole Malachowski, a fighter pilot, and a high-profile women's rights attorney, Gloria Alfred. Deer was selected by a nationwide panel of judges, experts from across the country from organizations and educational institutions for her work on the Violence Against Women Act and the Tribal Law and Order Act. And also, one more, this week on KPBS they did a special honoring Poet Laureate of the United States, Joy Harjo. She's also Muskogee Creek, and she is the first Native American woman to be so honored as the Poet Laureate. And she was the principal poet at our annual poetry conference at Tuolumne Meadows last year, a year ago. And this is what we call the broadside. This is, I'm going to read her poem. That's what a broadside is. And these are illustrated by the artist Jim Cooke. Eagle poem. To pray, you open your whole self to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whole voice that is you. And know there is more that you cannot see, cannot hear, cannot know except in moments steadily growing and in languages that are not always made in sound but in other circles of motion. Like eagle that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled in blue sky, in wind swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing because we are truly blessed, because we were born, and die soon within a true circle of motion, like eagle rounding out the morning inside us. We pray that it will be done in beauty, in beauty. And here in my display, I have an eagle, and I have wrapped the red shawl around the eagle to kind of bring this together as a statement. The bald eagle is the national symbol of the United States. The bald eagle, male and female, look the same, so you're free to regard the national symbol as her.
Yay!
The golden eagle is the principal eagle for Native America, was always regarded as her. In New Mexico, where Deb Holland is from, the bald eagle is also revered there with Native Americans. So that's for now.